Today we'll discuss about architecture, Oracle database architecture. Okay, so that we can have some understanding on the background, how it has been working, what are the different files that make the database to work in an efficient way when compared to other databases. We'll try to know all these. Okay, shall we go ahead?
Yes.
Okay. See, there are three important files in the Oracle database architecture: control files, read log files, and database files. Whenever anyone talks about Oracle database means they have these three files in their mind. Without these three files, there is no Oracle database. Okay. So first we should understand what are the sizes, what is the minimum files, we can have maximum files. This is what it is given here. Control files and read log files, they are very small in nature. Their sizes is in KB, max MB if it is very huge database, not more than that. And coming to database files, it can be in terabytes or petabytes. Very rarely in petabytes, but mostly we keep it in terabytes only. Okay. And the minimum number of files we can have is one for control files. And for read log files, we should have minimum two. And database files, as per the version, the files keep increasing. In 9 version, we have one, and 10G2, and in 11G, 3. So now it is standard minimum of 3 files. Okay. Next, maximum we can have up to 8 for control files, and read log files we can have up to 16. Okay. Why we should have this? Without this, what will happen? That we should know, right? Here,
Yes.
if we have only one control file, say for example, and by mistake something went wrong, and unfortunately that control file lost, then we cannot recover the database. We are gone. Unless you have a backup, we'll restore it and we'll make the database up and running. Okay. So it is always to have at least minimum of two files. What to says control file should be one, but it should be minimum two files. So if one of the file lost, we can have another file in other partition. Yesterday we have seen, right? I have shown you
Yes.
control files in two partitions. One is in disk one, Vora data, Vora DB1. Again in what is the other partition? Vora ing, app,
Yeah.
Oracle product, and flash underscore recover underscore. That part I have given that path, right? So there are two files in different mount points, so that if the one of the file got corrupted in one of the partition, we can make the database up and running with the other control file. The both files contain the same data. Got it?
Yes.
So that is the reason we should have duplicates of these three types of files: control file, read log file, data files. Data files we always keep a backup. That is the minimum basic concept for any DBA to maintain. If you don't have the backup of the database files, then we are not called as DBAs. Remember that.
Yes.
Taking backup is one of the prime responsibility of a DBA, whether it's Oracle DBA, DB2 DBA, SQL DBA, whoever it might be. Correct? You are the caretaker, you are the babysitter for your client's database, or your company's database, or your customer's database. Okay? So, keeping that background in our mind, we keep going in the discussion of this architecture. Okay? And coming to read log files, we should have minimum two. Read log means whatever transactions that are happening in real time, okay, that will be stored in the log in the form of log. Log means just like a human being keeping a book, writing the changes whatever been done. The same it will do in terms of Oracle database in an electronic format, in a digital format. So for that we require two files. Hello?
Prashant, hello. Now I can listen you. Hello.
Hello, Rehan?
Yes, Prashant,
Yeah,
I
it
missed
got,
you again.
sorry?
No, I'm unable to listen you.
Yeah, it got broken, then net was down. Again, it got
Okay.
restored.
Okay.
Sorry for that. Again, it got restored. Yeah, what I'm saying is, keeping this background of knowledge, we keep going further in terms of knowing the architecture of Oracle database. And Readlog files, as I told you, it is like making note of all the transactions that were been happening from the business perspective at the customers or client sides, that will be recorded in the form of a log. Okay. So for that, we require minimum of two files and maximum we can have up to 16, keeping the same concept in view. In my opinion, out of my experience, I'm saying read log files are very, very important than compared to other files, because these read log files uh, uh, will contain the actual transaction details. If we lost that read log files, we can't ask the customer and call again give those details. Correct? It is not the right way. So, in my opinion, read log files are very, very important. But Oracle and other books publishers, others, they say that control files are very important. Control file contains the physical structure of the database. Okay. Whereas read log file contains the client's transaction details that are very, very important. We see, for example, a customer called our phone, and your operator making a note of those. Okay. And after some time, we miss that file, whatever the changes that were made by the respective operator or respective person. And we can't call the customer, right? From where they call, we don't know. We lose the transaction, we lose the customer details. Correct? So
Yes.
that is where keeping the customer in view, keeping the client in view, read log files are very important as far as my opinion is concerned. At the same time, I don't deny, okay, I don't disagree with other authors that control files are very important, but read log files are still more important from the client perspective. That's what my opinion is. Okay, in all the conferences, in all the seminars, in my blogs, everywhere I talk on the same lines. Okay, you can stick to that, no problem.
We have daily role appender for this redo log files, or
Sorry.
it depends on size. See, if it depends on size, it keep backing up the redo-log files.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have for
Provided if you keep the database in archive log mode, there is a method called archive log. Archive means old copies.
yeah, archive. Yeah.
Okay. So there is a concept called archiving or
Okay.
archives. It's a dictionary meaning is old copies. Okay. Whatever readlog files we have, a copy of readlog file is nothing but archive log file. Once again, a copy of readlog file is archive log file. So if say for example, if the size is 10 MB of your file size is 10 MB readlog file, it keeps on writing into the readlog file, and after some time, I said minimum 2, right? If one of the log file has been filled up, immediately the log writer, there is a background process called log writer. I will explain you in detail when we come to readlog file management. But as a
Yes.
overall view, I'm explaining you the internal concepts. Okay. And whenever you are trying to make a new transaction, so it will write it up in the first read log file. If it is filled up, the log writer will switch to another read log file. Okay. And meanwhile, once the first read log file has filled up, right, immediately that first read log file will make a copy into the archive log file. Okay, that will be stored in other location, another mount point. Okay. So all this will be recorded. Once again the second read log file is filled up, again it comes to the first read log file. It will override the first read log file. You remember? Because already it made a copy, right? In the archive logs.
Yes.
That is how it happens. I will explain you in detail when we come to read log file management. There are two read log files. When the log writer is writing the data into the first read log file, when it gets filled up, immediately the filled read log file will be made backup, which we call it as archive log file. Who will make the backup of the filled read log file is archiver, is the process which will make the backup of filled up read log file. And the log writer will move to the second read log file. There are two read log files, right? Which I showed you here, right? Minimum two. If one is filled up, second one will be written. Whichever the file is read log file is filled up, that will be made a backup copy, which we call as archive log file. Archiver is the process which will make the backup of the read log file, which was filled up. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. So maximum we can have up to 16 read log files, and we can have more than 6,500 data files. Even more, I'm giving less in number so that it will not be too much exaggerative on this. So I'm just giving some minimal number. There is more also, more than this. Some people say it is more than 10,000 or 12,000, but I don't believe. In practicality, we can go up to 6,500. That's what I'm giving here. Okay. If we have more number of data files, it is difficult to manage, right? Okay. So that is the reason we always keep less in number so that it also helps in terms of performance. Is it clear? This is about the three important files: control files, read log files, and database files. Any questions here? You have any questions here? Rehan, are you there? Hello? 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 Rehan? Hello? Hello, Rehan? Hello, hello.
Yes, Shyam, yes. Now I'm getting call. I don't know why. I have
I'm
no doubts.
no, no.
No
I'm
doubts.
keep on calling. You are not responding.
No, Shyam, I haven't listened. It's a internet problem. I don't know why it come. The network
Oh,
is not working
okay,
properly today.
okay, okay. That's the reason I put my messages in the chat.
Yes, very good.
Okay, no problem. Now it is restored, right? Your internet?
Yeah, yeah. I restarted.
Okay, no problem. So you don't have any doubts, right? So we'll take it further. So there are two
Yes,
categories of files: physical structure files and logical structure files. And finally, other one is memory structure files. In the physical structure files, we have control files, read log files, data files. Apart from this, we have parameter files, archive log files, password files. These are all physical in nature. Why we are calling physical? Because we can see the location of the files at your hard disk in your operating system. Previously, I showed you right the control files while doing the installation yesterday. There are these control files are stored in the two partitions. You remember that yesterday?
yes. This two, this three. We have.
Yeah.
Yes,
Similarly, all these have their respective file locations in the respective partitions. Because of that nature, we call it as physical structure files. Control files, read log files, data files, actual data will be stored in data files. Your database transaction details will be stored in read log files. And the
yes,
control files contain the physical structure of your database. I will tell you in detail what it contains in control file management session. Okay.
yes.
Next, parameter files. It will contain the database related parameters which helps the database to operate efficiently, effectively. Next, archive log files. As I told you previously, it is a copy of your read log file. Correct? Just now I told you.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is nothing but archive log file. This will be stored in a different location, in a different path. I mean, in a different mount point. It's a backup, right? Archive means a copy of read log file. Password files. This will contain there are different users in database. Sys user, system user, etc., etc. There are many users. For out of that, sys user password will be stored in this password file. If you want to change the password of a sys user, we recreate this file. Okay, I will show you in detail in the coming sessions where this file will be stored, password file. If we lose the password file, we cannot run the database. Because being a DBA, we always use sys user. You remember yesterday when we are opening OEM, Oracle Enterprise Manager, we logged in with
This
sys as
this is
sysdba. Correct?
yes,
Nothing but
yes.
sys user. The sys user password will be in this password file. Never ever delete this password file or any of these files. If we delete any of these files, we are gone. Okay? Especially these three are very, very, very important. Control file, read log file, and data files. Okay? Shall we go further? Any questions here? Hello? I think again there is a problem, I think, internet. You ping me when you get an internet, Rehan.
Yes, Sam. Yes, I have now have internet fact.
Okay, no
I
problem.
don't know why it's not working.
Oh, it happens sometimes, no problem. Even
Sam,
for me
you
also
keep
it
continue,
happens.
okay? You keep continue, okay? Because I will follow up the recorder station later.
Okay, no problem. Okay, fine, fine.
Thanks, Sam.
Okay,
Thanks very much.
no problem, sir.
Great.
No problem.
Thanks a lot.
It's Your Highness, no problem. Next, here no dots, right, in the physical structure files.
No.
Next, user's terminal. What is this user's terminal? Say we have a client and server. Okay, at the end user client, whenever the user types a query, say for example, select star from a table name. Okay, at the SQL prompt, any user gives this command select star from table name and give semicolon and hit enter key. Immediately it goes to the internal Oracle server. So before going to server, it has to pass through many phases. First, a user process will be created. UP means user process. Okay, and correspondingly, a server process will be created, and the server process will be given to PGA. PGA is nothing but Program Global Area. SGA and PGA, these two are memory structures. I told, right, there are three different categories of files: physical structure files, logical structure files, memory structure files. In memory structure, we have two categories: SGA, nothing but System Global Area, and PGA, Program Global Area. So whenever the user process got created, a server process will be generated, and correspondingly, for every user a session established, whenever the session is got established with the server process creation, the PGA will come into picture, Program Global Area. Okay, so how many users it got connected, that many sessions will get created, that many PGA memory will be allocated for every user. Okay, and user process cannot directly interact to the Oracle server. The user process will give the inputs of the client or the user to server process. The server process will carry the inputs given by the user process to the Oracle server. That's what this diagram here. I have given here SP, right? SP nothing but server process. The server process will carry the information which was requested by the user to UP, and UP will given to SP. SP will give these inputs to Oracle server. Once again, whenever the user types a query, select star from some table name, any table name, and give semicolon and hit enter key on your keyboard, immediately a user process will be created. UP, short form I am saying, user process. Correspondingly, server process will be created, SP. Okay, and the server process, whenever the server process created, a PGA memory will be allocated. PGA means Program
Program
Global
area.
Area. Once again, PGA means Program Global
Global.
Area. We can also call it as Process Global Area. Once again, PGA means Process Global Area, Program Global Area, or Process Global Area. We can call with any of those names. Okay.
Yes.
Whenever the server process got generated, a PGA memory will be allocated for every user that are who are connected to the system. I mean to the Oracle server, and correspondingly user process is not authorized to carry the information to Oracle server. It has to go through server process only. That means SP. Is it clear? Then
Yes.
internally in the Oracle server, what will happen is SGA will come into picture. Okay, in the SGA we have mandatory components: database buffer cache, read log buffer, shared pool. In the shared pool, we have two subcomponents: library cache and data dictionary cache. And we have other components: local latch management, statistical data, etc. Out of this, these three are very important: database buffer cache, read log buffer, shared pool. Local latch management and statistical data are also important, but mostly we always talk about first three.
Okay.
but all are mandatory. Okay. So what it contains
Yes.
database buffer cache. These all are in Oracle server only. Okay. Database buffer cache contains three types of buffers: free buffer, dirty buffer, and pinned buffer. Free buffer means there is no data, which is a brand new, like a white paper. Nothing was written on that. Dirty buffer means currently some transaction is being involved. Some data is being writing onto the buffer, just like you are writing on a piece of white paper some text. Next, pinned buffer means the transaction has been completed, whether it's a what you call a transaction, permanent transaction, which we call as commit, or you rolled back. Okay, commit means you are permanently storing the particular transaction details into the database, which we call as commit. We give a keyword called commit, okay, to store the records permanently into the database. I believe you are aware of this, correct?
Yes. Commit. Yeah. Rollback and commit. We are
Yeah.
here.
If we don't roll back, sorry, if we don't commit, it will roll back. So it will come to the previous state of your database. Okay. So there are three buffers: free buffer, dirty buffer, pinned buffer. Free buffer, dirty buffer, and pinned buffer. Okay. Next, there are other optional components which we call as large pool, Java pool, streams pool. These are also part of database buffer cache. Okay. First are mandatory components. Okay. These are all optional components: large pool, Java pool, streams pool. What does large pool contain? Large pool contain, if you are doing heavy big transactions, big export, big imports, then we try to enable this parameter in your database, which we call as large pool. Generally, we don't do unless it's very, very important. Next, Java pool. If you are using any Java classes, any libraries for your programming, then we enable this parameter called Java pool. And if you are doing any replication, previously in older versions of Oracle, we used to do streams replication. Replications, we have the same copy of your database in different computers in different locations. For that, we configure replication concepts. That means streams. Using streams, we replicate the database in multiple servers from the source server. That's called streams replication. Replication means having multiple copies. So for that, we enable a parameter called streams pool. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Next, PGA, Program Global Area, or we can call as Process Global Area. What it contains? It contains control information and data information for the server process. Remember, it contains data and control information for a server process. One PGA for one process. Okay?
One PGA for one process mean for one query, it will create one PGA.
No, for one session. Say I am a user, I connected to that. So for me, one process, one PGA will be allocated. For all the
Okay.
transactions, whatever you make, you are considered as one session. If some other user, if you are connected to the same database, you are second user for the database. You are querying the same database for different tables or same table. Then for you, a session has been established for you. And for you, one PGA memory will be allocated, one process will be allocated for you.
Yes.
So I am one user, you are another user. So I have one session, you have one session. That means there are two users connected with the two sessions established. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Similarly, two PGAs, two processes. Like that, how many users are there? That many PGAs, that many processes, that many sessions. Clear?
Yes.
So database, so any user can connect to the database and they can query the data. So who are user connecting to the database? They will be considered as one session. Okay. So
Yes.
if I connect, I became one session. If you are connected, you will become one session. If some other user connects, they will become one session. If Summer will connect, he will become he will be considered as another session. He will be as another user. Correct? Now it's clear. For every user, every session, one PGA will be allocated. How many transactions you do for that user? For all that, one PGA will be allocated. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. What are the components of PGA? So there are three components again: private SQL area, session memory, and SQL work area. These three are the components of PGA. What private SQL area contain? When you are writing any PLSQL programs, okay, programs, procedures, functions, packages, you are aware of it.
Like yeah. It's an objects. Yeah.
So when you are writing any procedure package, you will try to create some variables in the declaration section, correct? So that you
Yes.
assign some value to the respective variables and you bind to your query. Okay, those variable details are stored in this private SQL area. Similarly, any memory we allocate. Okay, all this internally it will happen in private SQL area. Okay, next session memory. I told right just now a session will get established right for every user. So those related information will be stored in the session memory. Next, SQL work area. So whenever the query is generated, a execution plan will be created. For that, whatever the method it is used to get the output as early as possible, depending on your system or database configuration parameters, it will give the output. For that, in what way it went, okay, what are the respective methods access methods it has been used, those all will be stored in SQL work area. Your hash join, your bitmap merge, your nested loops, your sort merge join, your sort join. There are different methods, access methods. So all that will be stored in SQL work area. Is it clear? The two memory
Yes.
components, SGA and PGA.
PG.
Okay. What are the components of SGA? What are the components of PGA? These are all we have understood. Next, whenever you are following any database architecture or designing of your database for your clients, for whoever it might be, we try to follow certain architecture. Like yesterday in the first class, not second class, I believe, we have created an operating system, correct? And we
Yes.
have created different partitions: root, user, OPT, swap, ORING, disk 1, disk 2, disk 3, etc. Around 8 partitions, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so all these partitions we are created because each has its own importance. We are trying to store in ORING all the Oracle software or your Oracle home. In disk 1, we are storing your actual database files. In disk 2, we keep a backup of the database files which are in disk 1. Like that, every mount point or every partition has its own importance. Am I right?
Yes.
So accordingly, that procedure, that method of creating such a file structure in order to maintain the proper architectural concepts given by or recommendations by Oracle, we call it as optimal flexible architecture, OFA. If we follow this, your database will not have any performance problems. That's what Oracle recommendation in an ideal situation. But sometimes in real time, we also have some problems, even though we follow this, that that can be addressed in a different way. Okay,
Yes.
this is about optimal flexible architecture. They say that if you follow this architecture, your most of your performance problems will be reduced. So from the vision of your architect, company's senior or principal or chief or company's main architect person who design the database, they should keep all these points in view and they should design the database, keeping the performance or the movement of data. All these they have to design the database. So for that we follow OFA. Is it clear?
Yeah,
The
yes.
same we followed in our operating system installation. This is all
Yes.
real time, Rehan. No one will get you all this, believe me.
Thanks a lot.
Really, we mean it. I mean it.
Great. It's great. Really great. It's pleasure actually learning from you. It's,
Because past 18 and a half years, I'm keep on talking on this. So it was crept into my blood. Okay, that's a different story. Let's come to here. In the Oracle directory, there are two important what you call locations: Oracle base, Oracle home. Already we did this in our bash profile. We have said that, right? Oracle base, Oracle home. You remember in the bash profile we have said that dot bash underscore profile. Export Oracle base equal to, we gave the location, right? Orang slash app slash Oracle slash product. Okay. Next, similarly, Oracle home. It will contain the what are the version of
yes.
databases we have, like 11 version and 9a version, 10G version, like that. In that there are some important directories. Oracle home, bin directory, RDBMS,
Yes,
SQL plus,
one
network,
file we
DBS.
have given the
Can you go on mute so that it not record properly? If you go on mute so that I can continue with the session. Okay. And here in the bin directory, it will store all the executables like your SQL plus example. And RDBMS, what are the database related scripts we have, it will be stored in RDBMS. In that RDBMS, if you go to admin, we have different scripts like catalog.sql, catproc.sql, sql.bsq. sql.bsq is the script which is responsible to create the base tables. What are the base tables? User dollar, tab dollar, sin dollar, view dollar, preview dollar. User dollar means all the user related tables. Tab dollar means what are the tables that were contained in the database that will be stored. And sin dollar means related to synonyms. View dollar means related to views. Priv dollar, priv dollar means related to privileges. So all the respective scripts will be stored in this RDBMS admin directory. Okay. Next, SQL plus. In the SQL plus, we have two script files, glogin and pubbld.sql. Okay. Next, network directory. We have three important files, listener.ora, tnsnames.ora and sqlnet.ora. These are the files which are responsible to uh, 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 do the or to get the communication between the two servers from the database point of view. This will configure and we'll see how we can do. That's the reason we are creating two servers, DBA1 and DBA2. This will see when we are doing RMAN. Okay. Next, DBS. This file contain parameter file, server parameter file, password files. I told right in the above physical structure files. All these three files will be stored here in the DBS. Parameter, server parameter, and password files. Okay. These are about the directories and its importance of the respective files in that. Next, data dictionary. There are two categories, static and dynamic. Okay. Whatever the file which starts with static, that we call it as, there are three again subcategories, user, all and DBA. There are three categories, user underscore tables, all underscore tables, DB underscore users. Generally a DBA has privilege to see all the tables which are starting with user, all and DBA. Just hold on, I'm getting a call.
Yes. Yes, Shyam. Yes, Habibi. Hello. Hello, Shyam. Hello.
Hello, Rehan. You are back?
Yes, Shyam. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, yeah. I'm back. Mm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure. I can hear you.
Okay. I'm continuing even though you are unable to uh,
Yes, yes.
get in
I
between.
later follow. I later follow. If I have any doubt, I will email you.
Okay. Okay. So these are the base tables and dynamic tables, or we call as reference tables. Any table which start with V dollar. Okay, they are called as dynamic tables. And for rack environment, it will start with G, GV dollar views. And these V dollar views, they are based on X dollar views. This should never be touched. Okay. If you lose this, we are gone. Your database gets corrupted. Never touch this X dollar. Okay. These are the board data dictionary. Next, there are different files here. Alert log file, parameter file, password file, arclog file, trace file. Alert log file, the notation is alert underscore the instance name, nothing but your database name, dot log. This alert log file will store in this format. In our case, yesterday we did database installation, right? In our case, alert underscore waradb1.log. Waradb1 is the database name or instance name for us. Okay. Next, it will contain when the database got created, what are the scripts and files used to create the database. If you get any errors, all the database related errors will be stored in alert log file. And whenever you are trying to start the database instance, we all these will be stored in alert log file. And when the instance gets started, when it gets stopped, all those details will be stored in alert log file. Next, parameter file or P file. So whenever a database need to be started or an instance need to be started, first it will check the P file or parameter file.
Where
Next,
can I find the alert log file? Where it is on the location?
or
Within
it
the
is in
data.
the DB, it is in the alert log in your database name and your. I
Okay.
will show you. I will show you when we open this database. I will show you there.
Okay. No issue. No issue.
In the Oracle home, under that we have DBS and trace files. Just a minute, I am getting a call from my office.
Yes.
I will be on mute. I will be back.
Yeah. Sure.
Hello, Rehan? Hello?
Yes, Shyam.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
a
yeah. I'm
call from my office. I should go immediately. There is some small issue. So we'll continue in the
okay, Rohit.
tomorrow's class. Okay. I will send you this recording and also notes.
Yes.
Okay. We'll continue from tomorrow.
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Shyam. Thanks for your
Yeah.
precious time. Thanks.
You too. Yeah. Take care. Take
I'm
care.
grateful for your kind information. Thanks. See you.
Yeah. No problem.
Thanks. Thanks very much.